All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Trauma Talk Tuesday segment with myself, your freedom coach, Nataushia Miller, our guest speaker this evening, who is a Recover It All alum, Regina Amos. And our topic this evening is the 40-year breakthrough. Remember, this month, for the month of July, we're having a Recover It All edition for our Trauma Talk Tuesdays where you can hear from alums who have gone through my Recover It All Freedom from Trauma experience program, which is a 9-week program focused on inner healing from traumatic experiences. And so this is our final segment for the month for our Recover It All edition. And we're here to talk about the 40-year breakthrough. Woo wee. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, God.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Minister Regina, share with us where you were in your journey before entering Recover It All, and where you were and what made you feel that you would benefit from this program at that time.
So when I met you, Natasha, I was in a place where, in my mind, my mindset was in a state that I knew mentally, physically, and spiritually, I needed to recover some things that had been taken from me, based off of some traumatic experiences that I became accustomed to living that lifestyle where I actually it's almost expected trauma to happen. And after meeting you and going through the process of revisiting that trauma, going through and I should say I have a disclaimer. I am one who I really advocate for mental health, uh, people seeking mental health, who suffer from mental health challenges, and then people seeking them out and utilizing them as a regular tool. Over the years, I had had some experiences where I engaged in counseling and had excellent mentors and excellent guidance and some excellent people providing wisdom, but I had been traumatized, and had not really dealt with it, had not been open. And I say that again, open to receiving the healing from the Lord. So a lot of things happen about through that process of not being accountable. After meeting you and going through your program and receiving the weekly writings, and I share that again because I come from a world of academia and things of that nature. I was accustomed to writing, but your writing took me deeper. It took me to a place where I was open and willing to receive the healing. So I was placed in a position where I was able to recover it all. I went through an intensive process of revisiting some childhood trauma, revisiting childhood messages, and again, having a degree and serving in the field of psychology and behavioral science for years. I had some stuff I hadn't dealt with myself. And so, as a result of going through your program week after week, and I have to be transparent in my first week again because I was open in a position to receive because I have been praying for this. So I thank God for your yes because I have been praying for this, and not received the healing that I received before going through Recover It All. It was a blessing, and it wasn't painful. It was a God ordained connection, I believe. I believe that with all of my heart. Because even as a result of me being delivered, I was hoping before you came on here, you was ready to have church today because again, God has blessed me. You know, my tagline is there's a blessing on the other side of through.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. I had to utilize some diligence when I became aware of hurt people, hurt people, but heal people. So as a
Mhm.
result of going through your program, I've been released again, to go out there
Right.
and impact the world. You know, I identify with the butterfly and love the butterfly release, and then the changes that we go through. I was able to accept the changes I went through and I've gone through over the years. And when you think
Yeah.
about 40 years, you'll think that's a long time. But again, that there's some significance to that. And we all know about the children of Israel. I'm speaking to my personal transformation, my personal change that I experienced in
Yes.
going through recovery. It all. It was a blessing. It was a
Yes.
blessing.
Yes.
So again, I'm one who I always would acknowledge other people, what we go through, and your yes, because we all go through when we give God that yes. And so I relived,
Yes.
I remembered the stories I remember your story of when you went through, when you were in Louisiana. I remembered your story of transformation. So I was able to tap from that. And as a result, I've been set free. Ain't God good?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Ain't God
I
good?
love it. I love it. I love it. And welcome, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining us for the live broadcast. Um, I love how you said that before entering and recover it all, you was just in a place where you knew that you needed to recover some
Mhm.
things mentally, emotionally, and it is that internal state of
Right,
being,
exactly.
because you're successful in life,
Mhm.
successful, bona fide woman of God, intercessor. I mean, all of that. And so no one from the outside looking in, no one can
Mhm.
see that you
Mhm.
had a different narrative at that time where it's like, okay, I need to recover some things, revamp this internal state of being because I shouldn't be in a space where I'm expecting trauma to happen.
Right,
It's time for some healing because
right,
that's not healthy to expect
right,
trauma to happen.
right.
So I love how you had that awareness as
Mhm.
to why you were even open and available to enter the program, and even how you are a mental health advocate. I mean, you have
Mhm.
degrees and everything in this area, yet you knew that you still needed to engage in the process for yourself. And I really just wanted to highlight that because that's key, especially for those of us who are in the human surface
Right,
field. It's important for us to take time to make sure that we're gaining the inner healing and deliverance we need from traumas,
right,
and not only our own, but those that we hear of from the people that we serve, because there is a such thing as having a vicarious or indirect impact where it
exactly.
impacts us on one level or another just to hear the story of someone else. And so I wanted to highlight those things because that's very key point. So to come back to another point that you made, it was not painful. Share more about that, even just your experience with Recover All. You shared with us where you were before and why you were led to come into the program, and you kind of scratched the surface a little bit of your breakthrough experience. But share with us more about what you experienced during the program and why the inner healing was not painful for you. I think that's just so key because I think sometimes we avoid the process because we don't
Because
want
I
to
was
revisit
ready.
the pain.
Right.
Whew. Yeah.
Natasha, when you talk about 40 years, that's a long time that you go through a process. So over the 40 years, I was going through looking for help, praying. Again, I was seeking and treating God about the process. I knew that I needed to be healed. And it was like everything I had tried was not working. So it's almost, and I don't want to sound cliche or be real. I don't want to be real churchy about this, but it was when I was vulnerable and I was like, Lord, I need you to heal me from this because I've held someone else accountable for something I should be accountable for myself. I took accountability for it. I took accountability for the action, whatever had taken place. I took accountability for wanting to receive the healing. And again, being diligent about seeking God for it. And so it wasn't painful. It's just like how you toil as you grow up. Again, going through the process of development. And at one point, you get to a place where you reach maturity. God healed me through that process. It took a long time. But when I was ready,
Yeah.
he was there waiting for me. Because he had been waiting. He had been waiting.
Yeah.
God is faithful. He who promises faithful. He's faithful. And again, I'm thankful I made it. Some people can't say that. And like I said, my tagline is if there's a blessing on the other side of through, we have to go through some things. We do, but I'm telling you, like you touched on earlier, changing the narrative. You taught me that. Realizing the idea that God is sovereign, even through this,
Yes.
all of what I went through. That was huge. And then I have to reiterate too. I was doing the writing. You posed the questions. I responded, but then you responded back to me. And there were times that you asked me to dig a little deeper and you made suggestions. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I was going through a repetitive motion for the sake of just going through it. I was after something. I wanted to recover it all. And ask me how it came out. Ask me how it came out.
Yes.
Again, God
I'm glad you
did.
you did indeed take advantage of the unlimited email access
Right.
and share with me some of your responses to the journaling promptings where I could
Mhm.
reply and ask some more questions that took you even deeper and
Exactly.
investigate around that is available, but not
Right.
everyone actually takes advantage of that unlimited communication with me. And so that's it as to why this experience and really gave you that healing factor processes, and that's vulnerability
Mhm.
and accountability. And
Mhm.
that's the powerful thing about the how the program is facilitated, because it's really journal promptings to deepen
Mhm.
your intimate relationship with the Lord. And so if you're putting pen to paper, you can't help but be vulnerable and
Right.
transparent and naked. It's
Mhm.
something about pen to paper that and then sometimes you look at what you're writing, you're like, I can't believe this is coming out. Because when we're typing, when we're
Right.
talking, we could kind of think and beforehand, but it's something about that pen and paper that stuff just
Right.
come out and we didn't even know was there.
And you know what? And I
Right.
went with what was in my gut. I went what was
Right.
internalized. And I typed it and then I hit send. I didn't take the time to think about, oh, I needed to be healed. Wilt thou be made
Right.
whole?
Right.
So
And
wilt thou
then
be made whole?
even the accountability part, because this is something I always highlight as well when it comes to healing from trauma. Even if the trauma was a violation that was beyond our control that happened in childhood, there's still an accountability for complete on. As a result of it, we took on a false belief, a false narrative about ourselves in response to that trauma. And so we have to take accountability for that. We have to forgive ourselves. And in doing that, we grasp the grace to
Exactly.
get
That's it. I was getting ready to type it in the chat box because you're breaking up on
trauma.
me a
There's
little bit.
still a part that
But
we play.
but showing it as we experience grace that God gives us, it's our obligation
Ooh,
to give it to
we are
others.
going,
And
we
so
come
that was
against
something
this
that was key
turbulence and the
as well. It
technological.
was a forgiving process. That healing took place because I changed the narrative. I accepted the role that I played in the event as well. And then even gave myself grace and forgave myself for carrying it for so long. Because somebody else, again, people will look at it and go, that's a long time. But we have people people who can identify being in bondage for 40 years. Again, thankful to have that access to that information as well. Being able to know that you're
Yeah.
not alone in this process. So, Natasha, it's been an amazing experience. And as a result, because I have been healed in that area, I'm able to listen to other people and take them through the same process that you and the Lord took me through.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. You just took off like a rocket. Next thing you know, I'm seeing photo shoots, books.
Well, but you know what, Natasha, the books and some of that work had already been taking place. I just wasn't sharing it. I just was not sharing it, and so that's what you. So now
Mm.
you catching the overflow. You're being exposed to, or I'm being released to share with you what God has been doing with me through my process. I got a lot of stuff. A
Wow.
lot of stuff. I mean, and that's one reason why I identify so much with the butterfly is because of the process that they go through when they're the larva and then they're isolated and then they develop and they grow and then they are released and set free. So God is good. He's really
Yeah.
good. Mm-hmm.
You are. Beforehand, you was kind of to see for the glory of the Lord.
Exactly.
That is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
God. I
But
love it. I love it. I
I
love
just want to be who he want me to be. That's all.
it. Mm-hmm.
That's it. And
Awesome.
that's all.
Awesome. All right. Yes. So, is there any closing remarks that you have for our viewers, for those that are chiming in live, and for those that catch the replay? This has been
I
good.
do. I do. Again, this program was amazing for me. I'm still able to utilize the tools that I received in it, as well as I'm one who I apply what has been given to me, and as a result, other people's lives have been changed due to this process. Changing the narrative and understanding that God is always with us and that He's sovereign is everything. And then as we go on to healing, for us to forgive ourselves and forgive others, that's what we're supposed to do. That's one of the 10 Commandments. And so we need to do all of that good stuff. Love ourselves, love our neighbor as ourselves, all of that good stuff. But again, it requires a process that we go through healing. Say yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
You'll be happy that you did. Because there's a blessing on the other side of through.
Yes, yes, yes. And that is so good because so many, that is one of the number one things that you will hear from any of the alums of Recover It All is that they gain tools that they can continuously use.
Right.
So,
Right. And so I'm getting
and
ready to do the
yeah.
alumni program. I'm signing up for the alumni program. I'm closing out another program that I had been doing that actually ends at the end of August. And I will
Mm.
be signing up for the alumni program for Recover It All again because I want
Yeah.
to be intentional of getting what God has for me. And I received it
Oh,
in this place. Look, so
yes,
why not
yes.
go
And
back?
so what she is talking about is the alumni reunion that
Mhm.
we're putting together. And for those of you who decide to go through the steps, the first step to qualify for enrollment is a 2-hour freedom coaching introduction with me where I could fully assess where you are in your freedom from trauma journey and to give you a plan on what steps that you should take moving forward to meet your needs. And so that is the first step to qualify for enrollment for Recover It All. And for those that are joining class of 2021, will have a chance to glean from class of 2020 because you actually get to crash their reunion. So she's talking about their Recover It All reunion that we're going to have via Zoom and have a good, nice, fun time. And then those who are enrolled for class of 2021 gets to crash the reunion and hear from the alums and everyone just meet. And so that's one of the great things about it. We do build community through
Right.
our programs because this is freedom from trauma lifestyle is not a lifestyle that we can do alone. We
Mhm.
need a community, we need a company of others who's going to hold us up in this process and who's going to continue to be a safe space for us to be
Mhm.
vulnerable and transparent whenever we need to be of you just so that's what we're all about. All right, I'm so excited.
Me too,
All
Natasha. This
right.
has been an amazing experience. Again, I share this where I work, where I serve at. Even today, I was meeting with our chief financial officer, and again, due to the work that I do, I was like, I'm so excited. I said I have to leave work, and I'm going home, and I'm going to speak on recovering all and about trauma. And again, he gets the opportunity to see God move and us execute those strategies in a healing space every day. And so I'm thankful. I'm so thankful.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Again, for Coach qualify for enrollment for Recover It All. It is a program that's offered every fall. The fall is once a year in the fall. Always begins in September every year. So join us and I'm just letting you know because you may be watching this replay a couple years from now. So every September. Yes, indeed. All
Yeah.
righty. So this is your freedom coach, Natasha Miller, and Recover It All alum, Regina Amos, signing off until next time. Peace and freedom to you all.